Hello, I am Reverend Irene Smith, and I'd like to welcome you to Generationally Speaking. Here at the table, we come and we discuss life issues, no matter what they might be. As we sit at the table with each generation, we all learn, we all grow, we all are inspired.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Generationally Speaking. Welcome to Generationally Speaking. I am your host, Reverend Irene Ford Smith, and I want to welcome you to the table of discernment where we sit at the table with voices from all the generations, knowing as we sit together that we learn and that we hear each other and we are able to grow. Well, I'm always excited about my guests, and today is no exception. I am especially excited to have with me Karen Baker. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Reverend Irene.
Karen is a financial guru. You heard me, financial guru. And scripture says, my people perish from a lack of knowledge. And today, I need you to get your pads. I need you to get your pencils. I need you to get your tea or whatever you're sipping on, because you need to take some notes, because today, you're going to be informed. And with that information, you're going to be able to transform the way you are living even right now. So first, I want Karen C. Baker first to introduce to you her full title, and then we'll go from there.
Wow, thank you so much. I've known you for such a long time, and I am so blessed that you would want to have me on your show. So thank you so much. My name is Karen Baker, and I am the founder and the CEO of Casey Baker and Associates. And what we do is we ensure your financial wellness. It's so important that we, especially in our community, we understand how money works. So it has been my mission, my passion, for a very long time, over 38 years now, to really just educate us on wherever you sit today financially, wherever your portfolio is, we can help. It doesn't matter if you're young, old, starting to save, not haven't started yet, started retirement, education funds, emergency fund savings, whatever your financial picture looks like. We as financial advisors, I am a certified nationally financial instructor. So it's about the education so that we can get to our legacy.
Yeah. Well, this is Karen's second time being a featured guest here at Generationally Speaking, and we thought it so important to bring her back. Before we get into the depth of our conversation, I want to first give her an opportunity to introduce a little bit about her background to you. The first time we met, I shared with you Karen's book, Live, Love, and Reset, God's Plan, The Perfect Person to Get Cancer. So I'm going to let Karen talk a little bit about that.
You know, we don't know when things are going to happen. And during the time of me actually being on my deathbed in 2020, when I could not even lift my head up out of the bed, literally falling out of the bed, crawling to get to the bathroom because I didn't have enough strength in my body, God just kind of said, you know what, it's time for you to be transparent and let people understand that you are so much more than what you go through. It doesn't matter whether it's sickness in your body or, you're depressed or bad relationships or just struggling, whatever your struggles are, we are so much more than that.
Yes.
And it's a lesson that helps us mold our character. So I asked my kids to just, bring the computer in the bed, and I just started typing. And when I tell you, it was such a hard lesson, because at that point I had to literally go back to all the things that happened in my life over the past 7 years. all the emergency surgeries, all the diagnosis of cancer, them not knowing what type of cancer it was, telling me that I wasn't going to live past 2020. And what I wanted to do was to give a chapter to all of the ups and downs over the past 7 years, but I wanted to actually put at the end of the chapter how I maneuvered financially. And so that's how that book was created.
I think it's so wonderful that you share how you received a diagnosis, and the diagnosis was we're not sure. We don't think there's anything more that we can do, and a lot of times when we hear those types of diagnoses, we stop. We stop living. We stop thriving. We stop pushing. But to hear you say to your children, bring the laptop, bring it to me, and we never know what God is up to.
That's right.
God's word says he's going to cause all things to work together. And here it was, with this diagnosis and having to go through what you experienced, he continued to allow you to thrive and to open new avenues. And today, I want to go down one of those avenues that God has opened up for her. And that is, I want to talk about money. In the church, we talk about everything but money and sex. Well, we're going to talk about money today. It is time. Because in the church, and I don't call the church the building, I call the church the people.
Right.
So we don't always have a healthy lens or healthy perspective of the dollar. I said it, the dollar. All we know is, you sow and you reap. That's very true. But it's how you sow.
Exactly.
It's going to determine how you reap. Yeah, you give your tithes, but what do you do with the other 90%? Because that's what we're going to talk about. You got 10%, hopefully, that you're tithing with. But the other 90%, if you're not careful, it's blowing out the door. If you're not careful, you're spending it up. And then when a week, a month, a year, you wonder, you go to file your income taxes and they say you made $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 or even $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you cannot look to see what you did with that money. That is an unhealthy perspective of dollars and cents. So we're going to start right there, Karen. How did we get there, and how do we begin to move past that as a financial educator?
Well, especially in our community, that's not something that we would sit around the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas, gathering and talk about saving and talk about money. And many of my clients that come to me and I say, okay, I need to see the whole full financial picture from soup to nuts, debts, your credit, your retirement, your life insurance, college savings, emergency funds, and all of that. We have to understand that it doesn't matter how much you start with, you just have to start. It doesn't matter if you're 20, it doesn't matter if you're 30, it doesn't matter if you're 60. But you want to be able to have a sound strategy that will get you to your financial goals. And everybody's goal is different. Everybody's financial situation is different. But if you don't sit down with the right financial advisor, and hear me out now, I say the right, because, and this is going back to my 20s, when I went to a financial advisor, and I went to the wrong financial advisor, because you want to be able to be diversified. We talked about that earlier. You have to be diversified. So you want to be with an advisor who is a broker, an independent broker, not someone who's being paid by a company, because they can only give you what that one company has. And more often than not, they can't give you what you need, everything. Can they give you a piece? Yes. But can they give you everything? No. So it starts with understanding first where you are financially, being transparent about the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that that independent broker, that independent advisor can actually start your journey. And it is a journey, and we hold your hand and we walk you through that.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about when she said being honest, and that comes with a transparency that begins within ourselves and taking an honest look. And I know that there's somebody saying, Reverend Smith, I don't have anything. Trust me, you do have something. You may not have what you want, but what you have, if you place it in the right hands, and we talk about that all the time in church, put it in Jesus. And if you put it in the right hand, then that little can become much. The other thing too I want to talk about, I want to bring to our attention is that sometimes we say, oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried. I don't care about that. You should care.
Yes.
You should care, because you should care about how you're leaving, what's the legacy that you're leaving, and what is the what responsibility are you placing on your loved one. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you saying somebody gonna bury me. Yeah, but what is it gonna cost them? And how far back is it gonna push them? So I think, like right now, don't turn off. Don't turn off. Don't turn away. Don't walk away. Sit down and listen. And pay attention, because whatever the amount that you have, the financial guru here, she's going to share with us how we can begin to take that little bit, how we begin to look at that 90%, whatever it is. If you're on a fixed income, I hear that a lot. Can I tell you, everybody's on a fixed income? Mm-hmm. Everybody's on fixed income. Fixed income is they get paid twice a month or once a month. That's fixed income. Mm-hmm. If you get a check once a month, that's a fixed income. Mm-hmm. But it's what you do with that. And we've seen persons who were maids in their profession, and when they closed their eyes and transitioned to the other side, they left a legacy, a donation to HBCUs or other institutions of millions of dollars that they managed to save. So it's really what you do. And I want us to start to think about that. I want us to move away from the microwave mentality. I want us to move away from, I want it right now. No, I want us to move away from the mentality of, I'm feeling bad, so I'm going shopping. No, we got to stop that. Move away from the mentality of I've got to have Starbucks. No, you don't have to have Starbucks. No, you can have it once a day, but you ain't got to have it all day, and you got to think about it. I want us to move away from the mentality of I can't bring my lunch to work. Yes, you can, because you can bring a more healthier lunch. So I've said a lot. So now let's get down into how do we get started with our funds, that 90%?
Okay, so understanding that you should be putting a minimum of 15% away for your financial future. I say a minimum. If you have more, you can put more. And everybody's situation, like I said, is different. That's why we start out by doing a financial needs analysis, so that you know exactly where you are and you know exactly what you need to do. So everybody should be paying themselves first. I want you to hear me. Pay yourself first. Not Starbucks, not, Target, not, Kmart, Walmart, not Nordstrom's. Pay yourself first. And my analogy, and I use this all the time, is how much is your car note? And so clients will be like, oh, it's 500 and something. Oh, I have a Mercedes truck, it's 1,000 something. Or, oh, it's only 200 or 300. If you're not putting that much away for yourself, through your portfolio, you're doing yourself a disservice. Mr. and Mrs. Mercedes got theirs. Mr. and Mrs. Toyota got theirs. But if you're not giving yourself the same, if not more, monthly, you're doing yourself and your family and your children a disservice. It starts with saving.
Let me stop you right. That was such a great point of that the car note. That was spot on, because we desire these cars, and it doesn't matter the sacrifice that we have to make for that car. We want that car. We want that big truck. We want that. We want that. We want that.
That's right.
And we will scrimp and do everything we got to do to make that car payment along with that car insurance. But the question is, why aren't we willing to scrimp for ourselves? If you think about that, aren't you worth more than that car? I think so.
Yeah.
And if you can pay the car note $1,000 or $700 or $500 or $150, you can pay yourself the same thing. And think about it. When you pay yourself, yourself, that money that you put in your account, it does not depreciate. That car is going to depreciate and going to fall apart, and eventually you're going to have to get another. But the funds that you put in your account, oh, Guru, keep going.
So start with looking at your income and your debt. And go through your account the first, pick 3 months and look at your account and look at all of the needs and all of the wants.
Ooh, ooh.
All the things that you have to live and survive. Of course, that's what you have to do. But those wants, more often than not, exceed the payments of the needs. So you have to drop those wants down, because remember, it's about sacrificing now so that you can be where you want to be in the future, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, until retirement. If you think about it, if you don't do it, you're either going to pay now or later. So you might as well start now so that in your retirement, you don't have to go to Walmart or Target or wherever and work part-time to supplement the money that you need to live. If you really think about it, think about a lot of our elders. And most of our community, what they do when they retire is they cut back. No other cultures do that like that. They cut back because you didn't prepare financially for the future. So what I'm saying is, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And you don't want to have to pay later. Start with looking at your money, what's coming in and what's going out, and make yourself a part of that. You're paying yourself a minimum of 15%. So if you have to cut back on, you know, going out with the girls, hanging out with the girls or the guys, or, you know, buying breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, you know, doing this whole food thing, entertainment, if you put a dollar amount on your fun times, okay, put a dollar amount on that. You can have fun, live, enjoy, but put a budget together so that you're not wasting money.
You know, you bring up such a great point of a budget and not wasting money. We've moved into an era now where we don't carry cash. Like before, you sort of had an idea, you sort of had a feeling like, wait a minute, I'm spending too much, because you're looking in your wallet and the cash you had at the beginning of the week, maybe by day 2, is gone down tremendously. But now we've moved into the era where the transaction now is virtual, and all you have to do is tap your card or insert. And you don't think about it when you go to Walmart and you go in there for one thing and you end up with 10 other things. You go in there expecting to spend maybe $10, you end up spending $30 or even more than that. And so when you have to get your bank statements now. You got to get your bank statements and you got to look at it and to see, I love that, to see the needs and the desires, and having a separate column. And I think for all of us, if we're honest, that there are months that our desires far outweighed our needs. And so it's really, again, going back to having a healthy view of the dollars. And you can't say, like some people say, well, I don't care, you know, I'm going to die, and when you die, I'm going to owe somebody, and they can't get it because I'm in the grave. Well, they can't get it, but you've not enjoyed living. You just enjoyed just surviving. We're talking about living in a way that once you retire, or even before you retire, being able to take that vacation that you want to go away for 2 weeks and tour Spain, take that vacation for a month and cruise the Riviera. I mean, you got to think now about what the things that you are. Take that time and be able to go up to Utah and see the beauty there, or go down to North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, wherever your relatives are, and go down there and spend some time, and you don't have to worry about rushing back, and you have the funds to really enjoy yourself.
it's amazing how much we waste. If you do not keep an eye on it, if you don't make sure that you get a hold on where you want to be, but it starts out with your budget.
Yeah.
You have to have a budget. One of my many clients is the churches. And I teach, each church has their own title on what they want the class to look like. But basically what it does is it goes over debts, it goes over your credit, it goes over paying off all of your debts. And people think, this is another thing, people think that paying off your debts would never happen. But there is a strategy, I'm here to tell you, there's a strategy that I don't care how much money you owe your creditors that will get you out of debt from 2 to 4 years. I don't care what it is. This is something that has been out. These strategies have been out there forever. It's just that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And so now is the time to sit down with one of us and just let us tell you where you are and show you the strategies to get you there. It doesn't matter, again, whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, whether you're in retirement now or not. It doesn't matter, because there's always something that can be done to make money grow for you now.
Right. It's not unheard of for someone to go into a dealership and pay cash for a car. It's not unheard of. It is not unheard of. It's not unheard of for someone to decide they want to buy some property and they come to the table with all cash. It is not unheard of. It's just that it's our perspective of funds. Now, I want to shift a little bit, and I want to talk about the banking situation, because I know now that there are lots of people who have some trepidations about putting their money into a bank because they say banks are failing. Banks don't pay enough interest on their account, on their monies. So there are some people, not everybody, but there are some people who have decided that they're going to keep their funds close to them at home. We know that some of our Brown brothers, they don't have accounts, checking accounts or savings accounts for various reasons. They get robbed a lot. And so when someone, one of our ancestors, older person, transitions, and we go into the house and there's, thousands upon thousands of dollars that they have tucked away. So we want to talk a little bit, can I and should I trust the bank, or what is the best place for me to start to think about depositing my funds? One thing we know for sure is not the store, the corner store with the check cash in place on Friday, Thursday, or the check cash in place is not the place to put your money. Okay.
Well, there's going to be a risk wherever you put your money unless you put your money in an indexed vehicle. Okay, and I say that indexed meaning it's with a company, a financial carrier that has more than FDIC backing them. See, the banks only have FDIC banking them, so up to $250,000 they can give back to you. But a lot of the states are actually insuring some of these banks, depending on where you are. Some of the states are saying, okay, well, we're going to have a guarantor company back the banks so that if you have more than $250,000 that was lost, then you'll still get your money back. So it depends on where you are across the country. But I'm saying that there's a risk because if you look at it, if you put money in your TSP, your 401k or A, or your 403 A, B, or C, or your 457, you're taking a large chance because it's in the market. That's a variable annuity. That means it's in the market. Okay, so you're still taking chances regardless. Can you get more of a rate of return than the bank? Absolutely. It just depends on who you're speaking to and what your goal is and the strategy that's used. I mean, just the other day, I did a fixed indexed annuity for a young couple. They had left their job. They were 38 years old. We're all leaving jobs with money sitting, and you think, well, I'm just going to leave the money there when I need it. I'm 38 or I'm 35 or I'm 30 and I'm nowhere close to retirement. But what you're not understanding is that putting your money solely in the market, you're playing Russian roulette with your future money, because the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down. There's no guarantees that that money is going to be there when you actually need it. So when you move from one job to the next, you move that money from out of the variable stance into an index stance, which means you never lose a penny, you only gain.
Wow. That is interesting, because we live in a marketplace where people are more transitional now than they've not been before. Before, we stayed at a job for 40 years, 30 years, and now younger persons in the marketplace are staying in jobs 5 years at the max, and then they're moving. So you're saying that the money that you invested there's a way, a mechanism that you can take that money with you and not leave it there.
Okay, so the terminology is not take it,
Okay.
because you don't want to be taxed.
Right.
So you want to roll it over so that it doesn't touch your hand, so that Uncle Sam doesn't say, okay, I want mine. Okay, so you want to roll it over into another annuity that makes your money grow like it's on steroids. When I say on steroids, now hear me out. I know you're not going to believe what I'm getting ready to say, but I just did one with a strategy that's every other year. Now think about this. Every other year. So that means like it's a dividend almost. Just think about the dividends where the banks would get money on your account depending on whether it's monthly, yearly, or every 6 months or every 3 months. There are products out there that will pay you your account every other year, 38%, 42%, 28%. Why can't we do that too?
So let me ask this question. If a person has an account right now, an investment account or whatever it might be, are you saying that instead of pulling that money out, that they can take that money in that investment account and roll it over? Wow, okay.
Okay, and they won't lose a penny because it's not in the market.
Right.
But they give you the gains, they mimic the gains of the market. And they'll charge you a small fee, like 0.6% on your money every year, but look at the math. If they charge you 0.6%, for you to get 42%, do you care?
Don't care. Oh, wow.
Okay, so that is something that you can start even if you don't have old money. But what if you could start with $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000? So what we do is we show you how to save that money, and then when you get to a certain amount, then you put it in an account, okay? Or you can roll money over, or if you're retired already, or you're at retirement, if you're 59 and a half and above, you can move your money even if you're still working.